Hello, how y'all doing today? Just trying to get my hands in shape here. All right, I'm looking at this page here. This is from Chuck Moberg. I think it's the 50 close-ups. I'll put a link down in the description. I'm sorry, I've got so many of his books. I don't remember which is which. But I wanted to kind of I'm trying out something new. I fell in love actually with the Olo markers, and I've never done a video with marker, and I used to play around a long time ago, probably 15 years ago, and I just kind of got tired of them because it's hard to it's hard, the delivery system of the markers, the way that it goes through a felt and then to the tip, and by the time you're moving across the page, it fades out. You got to wait for it to reload the tip, get some more ink down there for you, so you can get back in there and do what you're doing. By that time, it's just aggravating to work with for me. I mean, there's other people that go take a Prismacolor marker and they just wow me to death. But the Olo markers are a brand that I recently noticed, just scrolling through online, and I noticed that the Olo markers were a little bit different, and so I picked up a set of the grays, cool grays. So I picked up a set of those. It comes with 8 markers. You can split them up, mix them however you want. If you're working, I like these two together. This is my 0 and the Ott cool gray. So this right here is the cool gray 7 and then the 5 together, and I have one that's like a 3 and a 1. So I think this is it. Yeah, 1 and 3. So it goes through all the nice range of cool grays. But I played around with them for a while, and I actually started a video doing this picture here. But then one thing about these markers is they don't have that little felt that runs through the marker, the handle, or the base part of it. So when you pull out the cap, there's a reservoir of ink here, and that reservoir sits right on the tip. So here's the tip of the marker here. So this is up in, that's the only part that's in there, and then it's fed down to the tip, which is this little piece here. So it's fed down to this little piece, and so you always have a constant flow of ink. It doesn't matter. You can shoot it up and down and go all back and forth. It's never going to hit that dry, streaky spot where it's and the ink fades. You're going to get the amount of ink that you put in. And so I've been working with them, trying to figure out, the best method to do this or that with it, and kind of developing my skill with them. So I was kind of at this level. I kind of started, I think this is one of the first ones that I did, kind of just messing around, see how they blended and things like that. Doing some skin tones. I got the skin tone set eventually, and so just playing around with the different colors and how I can blend them, and it's pretty awesome. And I figured out the best way for me to use them is to come in and think about pushing. Let's see, I'm gonna get another yellow here. No, I'll use this one. I was thinking about pushing the color from one point to the next, but almost think like there's a bug on your paper or something. You want to flick it off your, like this is how I've been going. So you get a good deep bed of ink here, and then push up like that. See, and you just kind of stay in that little area. So that's the technique that I've been using, and I just wanted to kind of go over. Maybe we'll do this eye right here, and see if you think that it's something you'd want to try out. They're not expensive to me. I think that for what you're getting, it's really worth it. One piece, like let's say this one right here, it's under $5 on their site. So it's under $5, and then the way you would replace it, like this is Y2. Here is the Y2 replacement. So all you do is you pull this cap off, you take the tip from this one, stick it in there, and then put the cap on the new one. You're done. You don't have to, there's no measuring or needles or anything like that. So it's pretty easy to do. I like it. So, and like this right here is the 0. And what I did was, when I was doing this picture, after doing, I guess, all the other ones, I was kind of surprised that the marker ran out as fast as it did. I wasn't prepared. I was kind of upset, so I just kind of chunked this, dumped the video. I was like, I'm done. So I contacted them, and they were really nice, really good. They got right back to me, and it didn't go to like my spam folder. It went to mine. You know, you can tell sometimes who you're dealing with. So it went right to, they're legit. So it went right to my inbox on my email, and they're like, hey, sorry that happened to you. You know, who knows? So I had already ordered a replacement, a refill of this one and my my 0. I had already ordered those replacements, and they threw in, you know, I noticed when I got my box, they had thrown in another marker and another refill, which was awesome. They didn't have to do that. I never asked them to do that. I basically said, hey, what's going on here? My marker just died on me. And they're like, we'll send you some stuff, you know. But no harm, no foul to me. So let me quit running my mouth. Everybody probably just died. Click off. I don't care. So we're gonna go in, and we're gonna press and flick out of there, right? So we're gonna do some bright yellows right in here. So let's just press down and flick out of it. See that? Now you can start getting a little more. Kind of staying in this area right here. And you're gonna push it up. We're gonna start applying this. Now this is a grayscale. This is all my channel's about. So if you clicked on here thinking I was gonna wow you with some artwork, as far as drawing skills, that's not gonna happen. I am doing a grayscale. And the cool thing I like about the grayscale, it's not actually, you know, you still have to go back and do the shading and stuff like that. It kind of gives you, I think of it more of as a reference. So I'm just adding this in, and you can see the chroma is diving down out in this darker area. So we got this bright yellow, and now the chroma is dying down. And the cool thing about these right here is you're not going to ever see those lines you get whenever you do other markers where they overlap. You'll see that dark overlap. You're not really going to see that with this marker right here. It's gonna put it in. It's gonna blend right into what you're doing. It's putting solid ink right down on the page. So the areas where I'm flicking off, I'm pressing and then light and going light with it. The areas where I'm flicking off of here are getting out less of the ink. You know, so if you just sit there for a minute, you know, you'll bleed through the page probably. You know, I can flip it over, and you'll really bleed. So it's dumping a lot of ink, and that may be why I wasn't prepared. You know, when I was doing all the other stuff and just learning to use them and practicing, I was really upset that it died so fast. But you know, they took care of me, and I figured out, okay, well, it's kind of like Prismacolors. They're my favorite pencil, and they're going to break. They're going to be you're going to sharpen it, pull it out, touch it, and the whole lead's going to break. That's Prismacolor for you, and it's just part of liking Prismacolor. So I don't really hold that against them. It's just something. It's a known thing that's going to happen. So now I'm just going to come in and push some of this up in there. You notice how when I'm flicking back into it now, I'm getting that light. See how dark it is here? It's going to be lighter out there. So I'm just kind of blending these together, not trying to do, I can be a little bit more careful. Not trying to do anything crazy, you know. I'm just putting it down and flicking up into there. So I found out kind of like a good way of doing this is to push from your dark to your, especially when you're starting to get extra colors. You know, if you're doing 3 different reds, starting your dark area, starting your lightest area, but that's kind of hard. But the darkest, lightest area. You know what I'm saying? Like this is the dark area, but I can come here and flick into that yellow right there. So now I can come back and take a red I'll use this kind of lighter. Yeah, I can come in here and now go to that shadow and really flick up into there like that and start blending in. So I like to watch the page come together like this, you know. Maybe do a little dabbling here, you know, just getting that red in there and then pushing it up into there. So that's basically how I've been using these markers, and it's been really fun. So I'm gonna come here and flick back into that orange from that red now. So there's a lot of, you can get pretty detailed. You know, there's nothing wrong with going back with your, pencils and stuff, you know, and playing on top of this with your pencils. So there we go, do that right there. Now I'm just gonna take this orange because we want to start out with our lighter, and I'm just gonna show you how much ink you can throw down in one shot, you know, and there's none of that bumpiness or anything. You're getting solid ink the whole time. So I'm just going to use this right here and push out of this darker area. And you come back and reblend some of this stuff, you know. And take my yellow and come into that dark and push to light, push to light, push to light. And if we start thinking about our color theory, we know that yellow is going to turn green. See that green up there? Which is, you know, we know it's going to do that. And that's cool. But it's kind of the effect I'm getting there. So now I'm going to take this orange and go to this dark and push the light a little bit here. Bring this over. There we go. Try to pick up some of this yellow chroma now from that little bit of orange that I just put. Try to pick it up a little brighter. And they don't bleed a lot. You know, these are alcohol markers, so when you put it in, it pretty much stands on its own right there. It doesn't go crazy, you know, making any trails or anything. But I'm gonna go in and take this red, run it around in this dark area here. And push it out. So it's pretty cool. I've been having a blast with them. So I'm going to take some red and kind of do an outline here on some of this. See here? I'll show you how some of the blenders and stuff like that works. I'm just trying to add a little bit of something in there, you know? There we go. So now I'm gonna kind of blend that in a little bit. And I can use the zero a lot. Like I'm getting this really nice yellow in here. And if I want to knock that chroma down a little bit in some of these areas, and then I'll take the zero marker, kind of run it through these areas. See it start dying off a little bit. I think of this zero marker as kind of like a bleaching, you know. It comes into where you've got that high chroma, you see where it's starting to knock it down some. You've got that high chroma in there. It's going to start knocking it down a little bit. See how it made it a lot lighter right there. And then sometimes you can wait for it to kind of dry off. It doesn't take too long. So you see what's going on here. It is bleeding through, you know. So put something if you're working on your table or something like that. So now we've got some of this right here finished. So now we want to go in and start putting some values in, and we'll start out with our. We don't really need one, I don't think, here, but I'll start pushing some values into the image here. Come around where I want the darker values at. Something like that right there. Now I've got these red lines that I put in there. They're pretty bold, so I'm going to go in with some little bit of this orange here and try to knock some of that area down a little bit, because I've got all that 0 marker in there still. And the tips really hold up. I haven't had any problem with tips breaking or anything like that. Just trying to push that red back. It's not tearing up my paper. Yeah, getting a little bit better blend out of it. You see why I probably ran out of ink, huh? So now I'll probably take like my number 3, start pushing some of these darker values back. The ones that I have are the brush tip. I don't really like the flat ones. I don't know. Don't really use them. So we're just messing around, and one of the problems I'm facing right now is that red line that I put in, you know, the tip is so big, but I wanted more of a trace line. So we'll let this air out and dry for a second. And while we're doing that, we'll come by and we'll touch some other stuff. So we're gonna go and tackle some like color theory kind of stuff. And we know I kind of want him to be a green lizard, and you can see how I was working on him before. And I'm gonna take an area here. I don't know what that was. Take an area here and push my yellows into it, and right at my highlighted area. So I'm going to go into the dark and push out to that area. Just kind of push these up. I'm not too worried about when I'm doing this. I'm not too worried about being right on. I just want to get some color on there, and then I'll worry about it on my next step. So here, maybe we can just kind of sweep through there a little bit. I don't want to get too far. I want my ink still a little wet. So now I'm going to take my my blue. It's a real light blue, and now I'm going to go to that shadow and push out there. Start trying to get these greens going. Just hanging out in the shadows, you know. So I can kind of trace out some of the other stuff too. Go ahead around. Try not to hit the brightest areas. I can push all this. We can do it reverse if we want. Something like that right there. Push back up into that lighter area. I'm kind of one of those, I like to get the color going first. Cool thing is this tip is not drying out. It is applying ink the whole time. So now I'll go back with my blue. I do have green now, so I could actually do some green. Let's see, I'll use this one right here. I'm just going to keep sticking that blue in there. So right now I'm just worried about the color, you know. I don't care about the values or chroma or anything like that. I come back later and work on all that. So I'm just trying to get my colors in here. And come in here with my 0, kind of pushing a little bit of blending there. Where I got any green, I mean blue, I want it to go green. Check the difference in these two. I'll go with this dark blue down here. Get a nicer green out of it. Push dark to light. So it's pushing from, when you hit that, you go from blue, you hit the yellow, it kind of takes you to green. And if you keep hammering on the blue, then it'll take it to that blue-green. It's going to look really cool as far as the temperature. Yeah, I can push back on that now with that yellow. I want to, let's go this way. Now I'm pushing it from that blue-green because I'm adding yellow. Pushing it back to a yellow, a real green-green, you know. And that's basically what the way I do it is I play like this right here. And then I'll come in and start doing a little bit of check with the values, you know, start pushing some values. You get this right here, just color it really good. Yeah. So I come in with my 0 marker now, and I can catch some of these spots here, kind of dilute out that yellow a little bit. And push back into that green there. See it start forming up those highlights and stuff, and then I can come back with my she's like the number 1. See how that pushes in here. And let's go 3. Push to light, push to light, push to light. So get some of our values in there. We can go a little darker in some of these areas back here. Let's see, well, I got a 5 is next, yeah. So let's take this 5 and just give it a touch under here, see how that's going to look. That's cool. I'll push it up a little bit. It's a cool thing about yellow. That yellow and these blacks and darker, like grays are basically a black with some white in it. So that yellow will push green when you put those in there. So it's real dark down here. I can push a little bit more of that up in there. And then come back with my 0. Kind of catch it. Catch it before it dries up. Dilute that a little bit. So I lost some of the chrome over here that I wanted. Clean that out. What was that? Was it darker? That's the only thing I have problems with, is getting these colors out. All right. Doing that a little better. Cool thing about these, all these little nodules and stuff like that, you really only need a real few really nice ones, and you just kind of let everybody else, let the mind's eye take care of the rest of it, you know. So I'm gonna grab green just for giggles here. Trying to figure out which one I want to go with it. This is yeah, we'll do green. That's green. Good night. Might be able to play around under here a little bit. Play around with some of these shadows with it. A little bit darker yellow. Cool thing I like is you just keep coming back, you know, just building up till you get it where you want it. Remember, every time you touch down, the ink's coming. There is no delay. The ink's there, so you got to move on some of this stuff. Just trying to get some color there, so I can come back and play with the yellow now. Put that in there, and then come back and play. redefine. I don't know how this marker is supposed to be used, but I figured out you can almost use it as an eraser. Kind of go in and work the chroma out. Dive it down some. Something like that, you know? Just playing. This has turned out a little brighter. I spent a lot more time on this one. Just kind of moving along. Plus, when I run in my mouth, it's hard to. It's almost like I gotta shut off the, the left side of the brain to do art. Can't sit there around your mouth and think about what you're doing and focus in on that part of your brain that's actually the artistic. The right side of your brain. This is a 67-pound Bristol vellum, and it's holding up to this marker pretty good. I'm hammering this color in there. I'm gonna try a little bit of this. I haven't really used this. This one I haven't used. This dark green. Let's see what happens here. Before I do that, I just want to touch some yellow. Oh, I may not even need the dark green. I'm going to pull that pink across the bottom of that. Where's my pink? Oh, here's a nice little violet. Violet, yeah. I'm not going to do much, but maybe just a little bit of violet in there. I think I did right here. Alright, now let's do this green. Something like that, you know? Alright. This, of course, would be darker over here. It might even take like one of these really dark greens. Just kind of push it out there. Don't worry about anything else. Just let it go to. Some dark blue in there or something like that, or come in and just play around with some shapes over here. some chrome on this pink. This marker's dead. I gotta refill it. I gotta order a refill. Good. No, I need to stop, but I just can't. These are awesome colors, the way they're working together. Let's just get in there and start playing. Good thing when it's all said and done, you can come back with your, I use a Sharpie marker, paint marker. And you can also come in and start highlighting some of the other things. And then if you want to, you can come back with your pencils. Start lowering down some of the stuff if you don't like the way something looks. Work pretty good over it. And even if you wanted to come in with, say, your yellow or something like that, you could also do that. Try not to put my face on the camera. It's way over there. All right. I mean, there's plenty of tooth left on this paper. I can go right in there and start pushing more color, you know. Just come and start giving all kinds of little details and stuff in there. But anyway, thanks for watching.